All right, we're back. How's it going? So I'm gonna go ahead and say that I've seen this video. It's only a minute and 44 seconds long. I just kind of want to give my take on it. I know everybody's done so, late to the party as per usual, but it's called "When Wokes and Racists Actually Agree on Everything," because logic? I don't know. I mean, I know it's in the video, but let's go ahead and take a look.
When me and Brad first met, I didn't think we'd get along, but turns out we kind of agree on everything. Your racial identity is the most important thing. Everything should be looked at through the lens of race.
So I know racists feel that way. I don't know of any woke person or somebody that considers themselves woke that would agree with that statement. That let's see, what was it exactly? I just don't want to misquote. Your racial identity is the most important thing, and everything should be looked at through the lens of race. No. 5 seconds in, and I already disagree. Shit. So your racial identity is not the most important thing, but it is something that we need to acknowledge in our society. And everything should be looked at through the lens of race? No. But we need to acknowledge that there are certain people in our society that have disadvantages based on their race, and people like me who have advantages because of, and privileges, as we call it, because of the color of their skin. But we don't need to look at everything through the lens of race. In fact, I'd wager to say that would be detrimental to look at everything in our lives through the lens of race. We just need to be cognizant of the effects that our race has on our lives.
Important thing. Everything should be looked at through the lens of race.
Jinx, you owe me a Coke. We both have a lot of opinions about people of color, even though we barely know any.
I say colored people, but as long as we're classified.
People of color versus colored people. Colored people, I have been informed, is essentially referring to them as a class of human being based on the color of their skin, whereas people of color are people that happen to not be white, rather than that being the only defining characteristic of themselves as a person.
Them. We both think minorities are a united group who think the same and act the same.
And vote the same. You know.
No racial group is a monolith. Black people don't think the same and act the same and vote the same. There's a lot of diversity in the black community. Asian people, Latino people, white people, Middle Eastern people. There is diversity within those ethnic groups. They don't all think the same. They don't all act the same, and they certainly don't all vote the same. That's the same can certainly be said for white people. I mean, I'm white, and the majority of Republicans are white, yet I'm not a Republican. I'm a leftist. I'm a socialist. A lot of white people disagree with me. A lot of black people disagree with me. A lot of brown people disagree with me, but that your race does not determine how you act, what you do, who you are, and how you vote. Now, there are trends, sure, like a lot of white people happen to be conservative. Doesn't mean all of them are conservative. A lot of black people happen to be liberal. Doesn't mean they all are. I mean, look at Jesse Lee Peterson. I mean, he is a self-hating black guy. He is a white supremacist, despite the fact that he doesn't benefit from that supremacy. And if white supremacists had their way and were able to establish their ethno-state, he wouldn't be allowed in there, no matter how much he simps for them.
I don't want to lose your black card. Sorry, I don't know. I just think we should roll back discrimination laws so we can hire based on race again.
Okay, so I know what they're referring to this, thanks to Vosh. There is, in California currently, they are looking at repealing laws that were put in place in the state of California specifically that prevent them from following national federal anti-discrimination laws and taking part in affirmative action because of these laws that are on the books, So they're looking at repealing those laws to be more racially neutral with their hiring practices and elevate people of color due to the socioeconomic circumstances that they happen to be in because of their race. That they're not saying, nobody's saying that we're going to get rid of affirmative action or any sort of anti-discrimination laws so that we can hire only white people again. I mean, there are people who say that. Those people just happen to be racists and white supremacists, Nazis, that ilk. Those are the people that are advocating for this. Nobody on the left is. No woke people are. It's just California's fixing an oopsie.
Thanks, now you owe me a Coke. Hey, tell them what you told me yesterday.
White actors should only do voices for white cartoon
I've
characters.
been saying that for years. Stick to your own.
Stick to your own. Jesus Christ. No, there's just been some controversy about white people playing characters that are on screen people of color. People like Cleveland's voice actor was until recently a white dude. And they felt that that was not right and decided to make a change. Nobody's forcing that on them. I do think that if the character is a person of color, perhaps they should be voiced by a person of color. If a fictional character is a person of color, we shouldn't whitewash them either in animation or in live action film. But this whole stick to your own thing that Mr. Racist Blue Shirt here is saying, that's not what they're saying. That's not what the woke people are saying. The woke people are saying that maybe white people shouldn't take those roles from people of color when there are plenty of talented people of color to fill those roles.
Us white people, we have so much privilege.
I agree. It is a privilege to be white.
Oh, God. Yes, white people have white privilege. I am privileged because of the circumstances of my birth, because of the color of my skin. I wouldn't say it's a privilege to be white, because that's a little white nationalisty to me. Are there privileges I enjoy because of the color of my skin? Yes, but I don't believe that it makes me better than other people. It doesn't make me better than a black person or a brown person to be white, even if I do have certain societal privileges. I wouldn't consider it a privilege to be white. But, of course, that's what Mr. Racist is saying.
Ask him about interracial dating.
All I said is that black men who date white women have internalized racism, and white men that date ethnic women are fetishizing them.
Guys,
That's the same thing that the extreme feminists say. The ones that feel that the ones that are politically lesbian, the ones that feel that being lesbian is the right thing to do, even if you aren't actually a lesbian, because dating or being with a man is internalized misogyny. No, people can have preferences. It's not racist for a black man to date a white woman. They don't have internalized racism. It's not racist for a white man to date a black woman. I think what they're saying there with the whole any white person that dates an ethnic woman, by they mean a non-white person, is that they're fetishizing them, is because there's a bunch of sweaty dudes online that fetishize the fuck out of Asian women, and will do just about anything to be with one. I think that might be what he's getting at, but I've never gotten the impression from a person that's been in an actual relationship with a white person that's been in a relationship with a person of color that they were in any way fetishizing them. They just happen to be compatible.
against interracial dating now. Like, am I being pranked? Did Boomer put you up to this?
Ugh, you know that taco place is white owned?
White people should be making white foods, like Kraft macaroni and cheese, no seasoning, not even salt.
So I think this is referencing I don't remember exactly where, but a taco truck on a college campus that got shamed into closing because the owners were white. I don't know any woke person or quote unquote woke person that believes that white people should only make white food. There's a difference between cultural appropriation and cultural appreciation. I appreciate the fuck out of Mexican food. I appreciate the fuck out of Asian food. I love me some sushi. I love me so, I mean, it's heavily Americanized, but like Panda Express is one of my favorite fast food places. It's technically considered Chinese food. I know it's not really, but I am a fan of Chinese food. I like Thai food. I don't know if I've ever had any like actual African food. I've had soul food, if that counts. I think it does. I don't know. Am I coming off as accidentally racist? I don't know. But there's a difference between appreciating a culture and emulating their food choices and appropriating that culture and saying, look at these tacos, it's a white person food now because I'm a white person that made it, and not giving credit to the original culture that created the food, and taking ownership of it for yourself rather than referring to it as, yeah, I'm making Mexican food tonight, and you go and make tacos as a white person. Or basically what they're saying is if you make those tacos, you don't refer to it as Mexican food and refer to it exclusively as white food or American food, which I don't know anybody that does that.
It's like he's a mind reader. I mean, I've been pushing for segregation forever, and my man does what?
I created an improv comedy show exclusively for ethnic people.
Guys,
I mean, I do disagree with, I think they're black nationalists, black supremacists, people of color that want to create ethno-states for their own race. I don't agree with any sort of ethno-state. But there's a difference between creating an ethno-state and having the Black Entertainment Network, BET, or blackpeoplemeet.com, a dating site for black people, or any sort of entertainment or community for people of color. There's a difference between doing that and having an actual ethno-state. I don't see any quote-unquote woke people advocating for literal segregation. If people of color want to associate with their own culture, that's fine, as long as they're not doing so with the intention and the means to create an ethno-state, because that's inherently damaging to society.
segregates comedy on my birthday.
White people need to stop wearing dreadlocks, and they need to stop appropriating black people's music.
Shaved.
White people can only listen to... What is white music? Jazz was originally black, which was what rock and roll came from. I guess jazz came from the blues, which came from the black community. And rock and roll came from jazz, which came from blues. So, dubstep? Do we get dubstep? No, you listen to whatever the fucking music you want. It's not appropriation to listen to a certain genre of music. One of the best-selling and most famous rappers of all time, Eminem, is a white guy. But he's not appropriating rap and saying that rap is exclusively for white people and that white people invented it. You can appreciate other cultures without claiming ownership of it. What was the other thing they said?
What?
I created an improv comedy show
I went back too
exclusively
far.
for ethnic people.
Guys, segregates comedy on my birthday.
White people need to stop wearing dreadlocks, and they need to stop appropriating black people's music.
So I might have a yikesy take on the whole dreadlock issue. So yes, it is commonly known that dreadlocks are considered, I guess, black hair. I don't know, and that it comes from people who descended from Africa. That's where their culture came from. But there are also other cultures around the world that also had dreadlocks. Look at the Egyptians, which DNA tests have shown were at least Caucasoid. And then there were the Vikings that also had dreads and knotted hair. And I believe certain Native American tribes also had matting and knotting of the hair, which would be considered dreads. Wearing dreads, I don't believe personally is racist. It's just a hairstyle. And multiple cultures around the globe have dreaded their hair, they've knotted their hair, they've matted their hair for the sake of style. And sometimes just because they don't have access to, at least back in the day, regular hygiene, which naturally, if you don't wash your hair and if you don't brush your hair, it's gonna mat up and eventually create a dread-like hairdo. Just not as nice looking because it's not as organized. It's just kind of matte. It's just matting rather than being actual dreadlocks, which is a specific style that's done in a certain way and doesn't just happen because you didn't wash your head. Which dreadlocks are not inherently dirty either. You don't have to have dirty hair to have dreadlocks. I knew a woman that had a few dreads in her hair and she showered twice a day. It's just how you basically mat and knot the hair together intentionally to create the dreads that, excuse me, results in that hairstyle. Excuse me. But no, I don't believe simply wearing dreads makes you racist.
Shaved heads and country music, the way God intended.
Shaved head and country music. I guess country music. Do we get country music? I don't know if we get country music, but shaved heads is clearly a skinhead reference.
You know, all white people are racist.
I'm listening.
Even if you have a black wife or a black...
Oh my god. Not all white people are racist. All white people inherently have a racial bias and racist tendencies that have been ingrained into them since birth. That doesn't mean you're necessarily consciously racist. You just have inherent biases that have been instilled in you.
Black friend group, you're still really racist.
Is that the whole I have black friends so I'm not a racist thing?
You know, we just kicked the guy with the organization for having a black girlfriend, but if you can promise me he's still really racist, we'll consider letting him back in. Black people should only shop at black businesses.
I guess
Black people should only shop at black businesses. No. I don't know of anybody that's saying that. Black businesses definitely need the support of the surrounding community. That's the only, one of, I won't say the only, but one of the main ways that we can elevate people of color and black people specifically out of the economic situations that they were put in by allowing them to be business owners, even if I disagree with the concept of capitalism. That is one manner in which we could address the societal ramifications of slavery and Jim Crow and all the other shit that they've gone through throughout the history of America. But nobody says, at least nobody that I know, says that black people should only shop at black businesses.
the only thing we really disagree about is I think white people are the root of all evil.
But what did I tell you, though? If we can narrow that down to a certain group of tiny-hatted white people, I think we can...
Oof. Oof. Again, I don't know of any white woke people that say white people are the root of all evil. White people have done some fucked up shit in the past, that's for sure. And we need to acknowledge that and work to better ourselves and our society to move past that. But I don't know of anybody that says white people are the root of all evil. And then, of course, we have Mr. Racist here that makes a reference to Nazis and the supposed international cabal of Jews that are trying to destroy white civilization, although they'll call it Western civilization. But yeah, you had to throw that one in there.
come to an understanding.
And just so you know, you can be racist without necessarily being a Nazi. Even white supremacists aren't Nazis because white supremacists believe that it's black and brown people that are destroying our society, where the Nazis think it's the Jews.
Technically, I don't consider Jewish people white.
Neither do I.
What? What? Okay, I don't... Are Jewish people not considered white? I mean, they are an oppressed minority, sure. However, Ben Shapiro, he white. He's pretty pasty. Yeah, I've never heard anybody actually say that Jewish people aren't white. I mean, I've heard Nazis say that, but that's because they hate the Jews, and if you're white, you can't be evil, so they have to be something else. But I don't know of any quote-unquote woke people that say that. I've never heard that before. All right. Proselytize on your own time. Yeah. So, that was when wokes and racists actually agree on everything, which is a hilarious straw man of at least one side of the aisle. The racist was pretty accurate, but the quote-unquote woke people person in that silly video was definitely a straw man of woke culture and or woke culture, I suppose, and woke people. I don't know personally anybody or have seen anybody online other than in a couple of instances that black supremacists, black national, I don't know what the term actually is, but black people that want to create an ethno-state for their own personal Wakanda. I don't know of anybody that says the things that the woke person, the woke dude in the woke t-shirt said during that video. But yeah, so that's gonna be it for this video. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go off for tonight. Feel free to drop a follow if you're watching on Twitch. Hit the subscribe button and the bell button. If you're watching on YouTube, follow me. My socials are here in the little rotating banner at the bottom. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.